Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of Let's Play Star Trek Online. So, we are continuing the Breen FE. I call it the Breen FE. That's actually not the real name, but it deals with the Breen, so it's close enough. It's called the Breen Invasion, so there you go. Alright, so we have done Cold Call and we learned that something about the preservers and their technology, and the Deferi need help, and the Breen are causing them problems. And then out in the cold, in the last episode, we learned that the Breen are basically using the Deferi as slaves, and yeah, pretty much just being a mean old bully on the Deferi. So now we come to Cold Comfort. And it says, Breen slavers cripple a ship and try to recover long-buried memories from its crew. It says, we are receiving a distress signal in the Rava system. A Deferi transport weathered a Breen attack, but they've taken heavy casualties and are requesting immediate assistance. My people do not have military ships, Admiral, and I am loath to send a lightly armored rescued vessel into such a dangerous situation. Please, you must do whatever you can to help them. So again, the Deferi need our help, third time in a row. A ship has been attacked by the Breen, and we gotta go figure out what's going on. Now, this one gives either a crate of Deferi snow tubers or a rapid reload transphasic torpedo launcher. The snow tubers, you get a crate of 10 of them. And the snow tubers can be used to create cryotribbles. So if you don't want to buy a cryotribble, you can make cryotribbles, and that's to use a Deferi snow tubers and just a regular other tribble and some food, and you will make cryotribbles. So that's an easy way to do it for pretty much free. Or you can get the rapid reload transphasic torpedo, which is not quite the same as the other one we looked at, but we can look at the differences in a second, or after this mission, because they're kind of a little bit different. But anyway, not too bad rewards on this one, and these are very rare rewards, so pretty awesome. So we need to go to the Rava system, which is up here at the top of the sector block. Working our way toward the top. Now, this episode will introduce us to a Breen character, which we've talked about before. When we get to him, we'll talk about him a little bit more. And he used to be a reward at the end of this whole series. He was the special reward item, and then they only do that for like the time that this whole series is like new, and then they make it go away. But they often throughout the year have replays where they bring back those special things in the FEs, and then you're allowed a couple of weeks or something to go back and replay that mission and get that special reward. And they do that about twice a year. So that's something to look forward to. They've done it already. I think they did it before free-to-play came out, or right around that time. But they will probably do it again. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw it sometime around the end of this year, if they do those replay things. So that there always is an option of still getting those items for free, those mission reward items. You just have to kind of wait until they come up during the year. Alright, so we are at the Rava system, and another system, new system we haven't been to yet. Nice warp in, a nice cold, Breen looking kind of planet. Very, very cold. Captain, we're being held by a disabled Deferi frigate. Thank you for responding to our distress call. We were boarded by the Breen and have taken several casualties. We could use any medical aid you could render. So there it is over there. Basically, we just have to fly up to it and beam down. Now this episode, like I said, the Breen invasion here was the first featured episode series that they created in Star Trek Online after the game had launched. And so up until then, there weren't really, missions that involved us having to figure stuff out with puzzles a lot. As we've seen in the last 60 episodes of playing storyline missions, there's not a lot of puzzles in the game. In the main storyline episodes that came with the game, there's not a lot of puzzles. But this episode introduced us to something that they have expanded on in all the other FEs since, and that is introducing a puzzle kind of thing that we have to solve and complete and do to get through. And it's kind of like, I guess, makes you feel like you're a Starfleet officer by having to figure out all this scientific stuff and then do it. So this was kind of the first episode that introduced that. And then from there, all the other FEs picked up and they had puzzles in them, like the Davidian arc. They had that puzzle with Dr. McCoy. You had in the Riemann stuff, you had that puzzle on the satellite station on Coliseum. The Jem'Hadar, they even introduced more puzzles. Several episodes in there had some puzzles you had to do. So they've started introducing and doing more puzzle type things. But this was kind of like the first episode that had a puzzle, and a lot of people at first kind of failed the second part of this puzzle because they didn't know what to do. But I will explain it. And it's really not that difficult if you know what the theme is. But we'll get to that at the second part. There's like two different kind of puzzles in this episode. The first puzzle here is we've got to help Dr. Kosa heal some Teferi. So basically, we're just down here on their frigate with myself. I don't get my bridge officers. And so this episode was kind of unique because it was kind of like the first episode where we didn't have our bridge officers with us. And we're just having to perform a function by ourselves. So again, it was unique at the time. And since then, they've kind of... I just noticed something, that the Teferi are bigger than humans. I never really noticed that before, All these times playing this game, I have never noticed that before. The Teferi are bigger than humans. That is crazy. I have the default standard size on my character. I didn't mess with the height or the width or anything, so I'm a default human size. And look at the size difference there. The Teferi are definitely bigger. That's a first for me. Can't believe that. 3 years into this game and I just now realized the Teferi are bigger than humans. Alright, so let's talk to Dr. Kosa, see what he has to say. Or she, or whatever. By the balance, you couldn't have arrived at a better time. I need every available person to help me with patients. I think the Breen take pleasure in our causing pain. Few of our crew were cured, but many have been injured. Okay, that's horrible accent. Okay. If you want to help, I need someone at table 7. Take the patient's medical history and triage the injury. If it's a minor issue, go ahead and treat them so we can make room for another. Treat the patient at table 7. So the whole first part of this mission is really just treating patients. And in order to do that, you got to figure out what's wrong with them. Then you have to go to the med kit. And then you have to get the right hypo spray. And then you have to shoot them with it. And there's a lot of back and forth. I know the answers. And it's really, really quite easy. But we'll go through it and read the dialogue anyway. Talk to injured Teferi. Please, it hurts. Help me. Now from here, I can just go ahead and do it because I know what the answers are. They're real easy. But well, let's just go through it here. What hurts? It's my left side. I took a disruptor hit from a Breen rifle. Please, I need something for the pain. Do you have anything that will help? So he's got a disruptor injury. First, we need to ask if he has any allergies. And he's highly allergic to Metarapan. So don't give him Metarapan. Are you taking any medications currently? No. Have you been treated for anything related to this issue? Nope. He was treated for polywater intoxication once. When was the last time you ate? Midday. What are you doing before you were injured? I was repairing a conduit on deck 2 and then Breen came out of engineering and shot me. Okay, Metropran, allergy, Midorpan is a very common drug used to treat and manage pain, especially in patients with this level of trauma. It's a good thing we caught this. If the patient was given the wrong medication, the result could have been disastrous. So definitely not that. Alright, treatment for disruptor injuries. There are several medications from the Deferi medkits that we can use to treat this patient's pain. Escitalopram, bicardine, hydrocodone, and metropan, and morphinolog are all indicated for pain relief. Once the patient is stable, we can treat the disruptor hit directly. So we know not to give them metropan. Get hypospray and protoplasma from medkit. So basically just turn around, use the medkit. Please select a medication to load into the hypospray. Analgesics. And at this point it's kind of like trial and error if you don't know the answer. Obviously you don't want to do metropan, but you could try these others and see if they work. And you can load it into the hypospray, go there, see if it works. If it doesn't, come back, load another one, on and on and on. But I'll give you a secret about this level right here in this room. Every answer that you need, the correct answer, is the second option down. That's it. That's the secret. The correct answer for every medical question in this room is always the second option down. That's it. That's all there is to it. So, knowing that little bit of secret info, we can load bicardine, load it into the hypospray, and then go shoot them with it. Bam! The pain from the disruptor wound is subsiding. That feels much better. Thank you. Awesome. The bicardine is having the desired effect. Now we can use the protoplasm on the wound to treat it without causing pain to the patient. Now we use protoplasm, whatever, thingamajigger. And there we go, one patient healed. Awesome. Next, help the patient at table 3. Now we go over to this table and we help this patient. Talk to injured Deferi. Mother, is that you? What hurts? An older boy named Tosca used to take my favorite toys when I brought them to school. If I tried to fight him to get them back, he'd break the toys. Dude, you sound insane. Do you have any allergies? I hated the taste of my mother's stew when I was young. Okay. Have you gone insane? Are you taking medications? I used to play in the mud every time it rained. My mother thought I'd get sick. Yeah? Have you been treated for anything related to this issue? I loved it when my mother would sweep me up into her arms. When was the last time you ate? I used to pick berries with my sister on the hills overlooking the farm when we grew up. Okay. What were you doing before you got injured? My father used to sing rhymes to me when I was a child. Not helping, dude. The patient seems disoriented and unaware of their surroundings. I agree, Captain. It may be a symptom of brain trauma, but we cannot rule out a physiological breakdown until we do a mental status check. The stress of the brain attack may have been more than the patient's mind can process. Do you know what year it is? No, that's not working. Do you know where you are? No, that's not working. Do you know approximately what time it is? No. Do you know your name? No. Altered mental state. There is something obviously wrong with this patient's mental state. I recommend that we scan the brain tissue. Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah. So now we have to go get a scanner from the med kit, just over here. Obtain a neural scanner. Go back over to the patient and conduct a neurological examination. Hooray. Captain, it appears that there is a cortical implant in the patient's brain that is causing the disorientation and illusions. There is an extremely high amount of neural activity in the area around the implant. Perhaps if we were able to decrease the activity with an anesthetic, the patient would be more responsive. Get medication for a medkit. And at this point, let's see if we can talk to him again. No. So we don't know what kind of medicine is going to help him. Now we have all these options. Now there's I mean, you can try every single one, right? And I guess that's what they intend for you to do. But the correct answer, as I said before, is the second option down in this room. So, anitrazine should be the correct thing to use. Load into hypospray, exit, and use it. Boom. Where am I? I remember the Breen attack, and there was this medic. He seemed mad. The Breen implanted me with the cortical implant. It has been forcing me to relive memories from my past. Please help me get this out of my head. I don't want to live like this. So that worked. Now, removing the cortical implant is a tricky process. We should confer with Dr. Casa. Okay. Talk to Dr. Casa. I'm not familiar with any technology like this. Any attempt I'd make at removing it would be based upon an educated guess. We have some captured Breen in the brig waiting for transport to a holding facility. Perhaps you could question them. One of the monsters who did this to my patient might know how to reverse the process. Alright, so in order to remove his implant, we need to go talk to the captured Breen. They have Breen in the brig, so we need to talk to 3 Breen prisoners. See if they'll give us a clue. And this brings us to the second part of our puzzle. It's a little more tricky, because if you get it wrong, you fail the entire thing. Alright, sir, there are a few things you should know about the Breen before we talk to them. The Breen are a warrior race. They do what is expedient and will often take prisoners rather than kill. You get more work out of a slave than a dead man. This may seem cold and callous, but to the Breen it's logical. Survival and duty are more important than morality. The Breen are very concerned with personal honor. Do not insult a Breen's honor or suggest that they kill without cause, and you should be fine. Okay, let's keep that all in mind. First Breen is right here. This is Breen prisoner. What are you looking at, Starfleet? What is your name? Look at you cowering in the shadow of Thought Trail. What hope could the Deferi possibly have against might like his? I will not answer your question. Go bother someone else. Thought Trail, yeah. So, blah, blah, blah. He's not going to help us. Here's another one. Torture me if you wish, but I will never betray the Breen Confederacy. What's your name? Blah, blah, blah. Nothing. Absolutely silence. So, he's not going to help us. Maybe third Breen's a charn. And this is Breen prisoner. Are you here to let me go? What is your name? I am Tran. Okay, Tran will talk to us. The others would not. Let's talk to Tran. What do you want from me? Now here's where it gets, here's where the puzzle starts. If you answer these questions wrong and go down a certain path and he gets mad at you, you fail the entire mission and you have to restart the whole thing from the very, very, very beginning. So do not fail this. This is very tricky. But here's the key to this. Tran is very concerned about the civilians. Just keep that in mind. He is concerned about the civilians. To him, he's just in fighting a war, and if there are soldiers he's fighting against, to him, that's a-okay. But he is not for killing or fighting civilians, because they are not soldiers, they are not in military, whatever it is. They are just bystanders. They are innocent. They are not part of the war effort. So, to him, killing civilians is wrong, is bad, and he would rather maybe even just use them as slaves, than kill them. So, he is concerned about the civilians. So, answer your questions, or ask your questions according to that. So, if you say, what kind of monster are you? That's going to set him right off. You could do, actually, either one here. What are you doing here, or what is your story? I think will lead to a correct answer. But what kind of monster? Let's not do that. So let's ask him, what are you doing here? So, and he says, I am a combat medic in the 5th Order. So he's a medic. I serve the Breen Confederacy. I was ordered to go to this system by my superiors. I am sure that you have encountered other Breen in the Deferi sector. What do the Breen feel they need to conquer everything? What are you doing here? And what does attacking a civilian transport have to do with Breen expansion? This is the correct answer. See how it deals with the civilians? One of these will probably be very bad to answer. One of them kind of middle ground. This one is the correct answer. What does attacking a civilian transport have to do with Breen expansion? Because he's concerned about the civilians. Like, why attack this Deferi civilian frigate? It has nothing to do with helping the Breen expand or anything. So he's against that. Alright, now he's going to say, I do not feel comfortable continuing this conversation. My commanding officer is in a nearby cell, and he can overhear everything that we're saying. While I do not agree with his actions, I respect his position of authority. I will not throw his dishonor in his face. Alright, so now we have to go back to the commander over here and make it so that he cannot hear everything. We're going to enable an acoustic dampening field. Okay, now all audio signals entering and leaving this cell are being blocked by an acoustic dampening field. Now he cannot hear us, and now we can go back and negotiate with or interrogate Tran. Tran is kind of like a nice Breen. Alright, now we can say your commanding officer cannot hear what you are saying. Alright. Now he's going to say, my superior thought that these Deferi civilians might have the information for which we have been searching. While I might have disagreed with this choice of target, it is not a soldier's place to question his commanding officer. I think my dissension was the reason I was selected to join the assault on the ship's bridge, a dangerous task in the best of circumstances, and one that had the least chance of success. Now, alright, how can you justify an attack on civilian targets? That's the correct answer, obviously. You followed orders you knew were dishonorable. Your failure is well deserved. Bad choice. It's going to make him really mad. Did you object to your commanding officer about the assignment? That's kind of a neutral one. It might lead to more information, but I'm not going to risk it. I know that the answer is this. How can you justify an attack against civilian targets? I didn't want to attack this ship. There is a nobility to being a soldier. When I enter battle, I know I could be killed. I know that others will die at my hands. But that is what we must do. It is part of being a soldier. Civilians are not part of this unspoken agreement. They do not wake up each day and know that in their hearts it could be their last. They should be out of bounds as targets for people like you and me. There is no honor in fighting someone who is unprepared to fight back. I regret that I had orders to kill these civilians. More than that, I regret that I carried out those orders. So I'm in total agreement with Tran here. In any war, in any battle, civilians should be out of bounds. You know, soldiers are soldiers. They're there to fight soldiers. Civilians, they don't wake up thinking they're soldiers, and they didn't sign up for this. So I think civilians should definitely be out of bounds. I am total in agreement with Tran. I think that's an awesome way of thinking, and he totally regrets what he has done. So our Tran is kind of like coming over to our side. And now you can see how he has defected to the Federation and how we were able to get that Breen on our bridge officers, his name is Tran. It is basically him right here, Tran. Tran has come over to our side. Alright, so to answer him, did you have an option that didn't involve attacking the Deferi? What were your orders? You speak of nobility, but where was it when you shot helpless innocents with your disruptor? Bad option. See? Did you have an option that didn't involve attacking the Deferi, or either one of these could probably work. Let's try this one. I suppose I could have heard, yeah, probably the other one was probably the better option to choose. But we can still win this. So your mission wasn't just to help the defend the ship. Do you wish you had thrown? No. Yes, okay. Now we're going in circles. We're not expecting the ship to have high students as a result of the breed, etc. What kind of information and value would a diverse student? Alright, cool. So that worked. I am not sure what exactly the commanders wanted to learn from these people. I can only guess that my superiors wanted information that they felt could be held by any member of the Deferi population. The cortical implants were calibrated to bring long-term memories to the surface, even going back to the target's childhood. Perhaps they wanted to learn something that even the Deferi child might know. See, would the probe Deferi know what memories were being searched? Perhaps if they had the mental fortitude to recall the memories that were triggered during their interrogation. The pain from the implants can be quite intense. How do we remove the implant? The removal of the cortical implant is a very delicate procedure. The implants are intended to be strong enough to survive the interrogation process, but too difficult to be removed by the subject or anyone else. I have worked with these implants for some time. Have your doctors talk to me, and I will tell them what they need to do to remove it. So, there we go. Tran is basically on our side now and helping us. So what I did with those questions is I basically just got to keep it cool with Tran. Don't make him mad. Don't dishonor him. And be aware that he is sympathetic toward the civilians. And that's the theme of the answers, basically. And you will succeed, just like this. Talk to Casa. This is just the information we needed. I will round up a surgical team and we'll begin to process the removal of implants. I spent some time talking to the patient while you were in the brig. It sounded to me like the brain implant was triggering memories from the patient's early childhood, many of them involving rhymes and songs. Most Teferi parents and grandparents sing to their children and tell them stories of our past and our traditions. A common theme in our songs is the preservers. We sing of their travels through the universe, their efforts to maintain the balance, and their great archive. My children are particularly fond of songs about the Preserver Archive, a hidden place where they left all their technology and records of the ancient days. It's an interesting story, but I don't know if a place like that could actually exist. After all, we're talking about children's rhymes. Captain, the Breen must believe that the Preserver Archive exists. There is no other explanation as to why they can target Teferi civilians in order to obtain information about nursery rhymes. Before we leave, Tran has requested to talk to you again. He's waiting in a cell. So now we go back to Tran. So the Breen are after something called a Preserver Archive, where they think the Preservers have left all their technology and information. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. We shall see if such a place exists. I have a feeling we will see. Alright, talk to Tran. Thank you for returning. I know that helping you was the right thing to do, but because I did so, I can never return to the Breen Confederacy. Therefore, I would like to request asylum from the Federation. I, however, am not alone in that request. There are a small group of Breen that share my feelings. We know that attacking innocents is wrong. If you accept us, we would all like to join you. I will give you the information necessary to contact them. It may take some time before they are willing to respond. Your future actions will help speed up that process. And that is how we got Tran. We've sent a communication based on Tran's information. I can't be sure that it was received, so at this point I believe the only thing we can do is to wait for a response. I must say I'm surprised any Breen could be capable of reason. Impressive work, sir. The Teferi seem to have things under control for now. Are you ready to leave? Yes. So that's it. That is that mission. It seems simple enough. If you know the answers and know how to go through it, you can do it pretty quick. And that is the whole storyline for us getting Tran at the end of this whole series, and why we can have a Breen on our bridge officer crew. And it also explains what the Breen are after. The Breen are after something called a Preserver Archive. And I'm sure we're going to be exploring that in the next couple of episodes. So that will be a whole lot of fun. Alright, so we can get our crate of Teferi snow tubers or rapid reload transphasic torpedoes. Now these snow tubers are like tribbles. You have a crate of them, right? And you kind of use them, and they give you like, you know, buffs or whatever to your character. So you have that option, or you have, but they're limited. You only get 10, so once you use them, they're gone. And then you get the rapid reload transphasic torpedo, which has a kinetic damage with 40% bonus shield penetration. And let's look real quick on our other one. It was a destructible projectile that deploys mines. So this one deploys mines. and it gives a 20% bonus shield penetration. So this is basically like a projectile that then shoots out mines, and it only has 20% bonus shield penetration. And 802 kinetic damage. And then the other one, this one is actually like a torpedo, and it just shoots a torpedo, and it gives kinetic damage with, and it gives 1,975.2 kinetic damage, and a 40% bonus shield. So this one is actually better. That other one could be used like on your aft if you had a lot of ships behind you, and you kind of, shot it at those ships. It would erupt into mines, and that would help you against a bunch of ships. This one is better. This is a torpedo, and it gives a whole lot more kinetic damage, as you can see, and better shield penetration. So actually, if you were going to use any weapon in this series against the Borg, the rapid reload transphasic torpedo launcher would be the thing to get. This would be the better option. This would help you against the Borg. So keep that in mind. It's a pretty decent weapon right there. It's not bad at all. And it is Mark 10 right now, but when we get to level 50, then we can replay it and get Mark 11. So keep that in mind too. It'll be just a little bit better. Alright, let's go ahead and pick up the snow tubers, and we'll use them.
Congratulations, Admiral.
We will use them on our... we're not ready for you just yet. We'll use them on our thing here. So here's the crate we'll use, and there's 10 of them. And they give plus 56% hit points over 3.5 seconds. I'm going to go ahead and remove my Borg triple, and I'll put the snow tubers there on the ground, and we'll go ahead and use them while we're doing these breed missions, so you can see what that looks like. And then there, that makes us ready for the next mission. I've been putting skill into this last column. I got my combat armor up to here, of course. Starship weapon performance is maxed out. I got starship armor there. I want to keep maxing the energy weapon specialization. What that does is your critical hit value. Okay, the skill improves your starship's critical hit and severity with all energy weapons. So since I'm using beam weapons, they're like the least powerful thing in the game. Like, cannons give a lot more damage, okay? Just flat out, there's no way around it. Cannons are better. Okay, but you can beef up or buff up your beam ship or your beams on your ship by increasing that critical hit and severity, so that when you get a critical hit on a ship, first of all, you have more chances of getting that critical hit, and second of all, the severity of that hit will be even greater. So with beams, you can start getting a lot of critical hits on these ships, and actually do a lot of damage because of that. So increasing this increases that chance, and so it's one way to really beef up your beam weapons. If you got beam weapons, you want to go ahead and just increase this. You want to have your weapon power increased, and you want to have your weapon specialization here increased. That'll just help you more, because beam weapons need help. They need a little loving, okay? They're kind of bland, so you got to help them. It's like adding salt or pepper to food. These beam weapons need a little salt and pepper, so that's what you're doing here, and that'll just help them out. Alright, so there we are. We're level 49, almost to the highest rank in the game. And our next episode that we will play will be Cold Case. We only have 2 left in the Breen, Cold Case and Cold Storage. And we will do Cold Case in the next episode. And it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of exploration. And it'll be a lot of fun. So please stay tuned and watch that when it comes out. Yeah. Thank you all so very much for watching again. I appreciate it. And I will see you all in the next episode.